Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Keandra Kane, and I'm excited to share with you a fascinating look into what I believe to be one of nature's most sophisticated systems of communication: pheromone signaling in ant societies. Let's begin by thinking about how communication works in a society. For humans, it's primarily based on language, spoken, written, or conveyed visually. We use centralized thinking, memory, and intentional messages to organize ourselves. Ants are among the most successful and complex social organisms on Earth. A single colony can consist of thousands to millions of individuals, functioning together as a unified superorganism. Within this colony, there are distinct castes: the queen or queens, who reproduce, the workers, who forage, care for the young, and maintain the nest, and sometimes soldiers, who defend the colony. What's striking is that there is no central leader giving out commands. Instead, each ant operates based on local information, often received through chemical cues. This decentralized structure depends heavily on communication to maintain organization, efficiency, and adaptability. In ant societies, communication is not verbal or visual, but ants operate in an entirely different way. They don't have a leader or a central brain directing traffic, and most species are blind or have very limited vision. So, how does a colony of thousands or even millions of individuals stay organized, solve problems, and respond rapidly to their environment? The answer lies in chemical communication, specifically through the use of pheromones. Pheromones are external chemical signals released by one individual and detected by others of the same species, triggering specific and predictable behavioral responses. For ants, pheromones are the foundation of nearly every social function in the colony. They form an invisible chemical language that encodes instructions, warnings, invitations, and identity checks, all without words or centralized planning. When an ant releases a pheromone, it disperses into the environment either through direct contact, such as the antenna touching a pheromone trail, or by airborne diffusion. Other ants detect these signals using specialized sensory organs, particularly on their antennae, which are covered in tiny receptors capable of detecting minute chemical traces. Once an ant picks up the signal, it interprets the message based on context and prior exposure. For example, a weak food trail may indicate a small or distant food source, while a strong, fresh trail signals urgency and abundance. The remarkable part is that these messages are not just isolated commands, they often create feedback loops. For instance, when multiple ants follow a trail to a food source, they reinforce it by laying down more pheromone, amplifying the signal. This self organizing behavior leads to efficient foraging paths and rapid recruitment without any central decision making. Similarly, if an alarm pheromone is detected, ants don't just react individually. They collectively shift behavior, swarming to attack or scatter depending on the threat. These responses are fast, scalable, and precise, allowing ants to adapt fluidly to changing conditions. Chemical communication in ants don't just enable basic coordination, it creates a kind of distributed intelligence. Each ant acts based on simple rules and local cues, but the collective behavior that emerges is highly sophisticated. Pheromones allow the colony to operate as a superorganism where thousands of tiny units work in harmony despite the absence of vision, speech, or central control. From organizing complex foraging networks to launching coordinated defenses and ensuring only recognized members enter the nest, pheromones orchestrate every major social behavior in ant life. One of the most commonly used types of pheromones is the trail pheromone, which plays a crucial role in foraging and navigation. When a worker ant discovers a food source, it lays down a chemical trail on its way back to the nest. Other ants detect and follow this trail, allowing the colony to efficiently gather food. Interestingly, the more ants that use this path, the stronger the trail becomes, which reinforces the signal and guides even more workers to the source. In situations involving danger, ants release alarm pheromones to alert their nestmates. These pheromones are typically emitted in response to threats such as predators or physical disturbances. Depending on the context, alarm signals can trigger aggressive, defensive behavior or prompt nearby ants to flee. This rapid chemical alert system helps the colony respond quickly to external threats. Another central type is the recruitment pheromone, used to summon other ants to a specific location. These are particularly useful in two main contexts: food discovery and defense. When food is found, a worker may release recruitment pheromones to gather more workers for collection. Similarly, if the nest is under threat, the same type of pheromone can rally ants for a coordinated defense. This allows for rapid mobilization and efficient colony response. Recognition pheromones are vital for maintaining the integrity of the colony. Each ant carries a chemical signature specific to its colony. Guards stationed at the nest entrance use the signature to determine whether an incoming ant is a nestmate or an intruder. If the chemical cues don't match, the outsider may be attacked or denied entry. This ensures colony security and prevents infiltration by foreign ants. Lastly, there are sex pheromones, which are used during reproduction. These are typically released by queens and males, especially during nuptial flights, which are synchronized mass mating events. While essential for species propagation, sex pheromones are not used in everyday worker activities and are relatively rare in the day-to-day life of the colony. Together, these various pheromones allow ants to function almost like a single superorganism, coordinating their behavior with remarkable efficiency and adaptability through chemical signals. Ants detect chemical signals using highly specialized sensory organs, primarily located on their antennae. These antennae are covered in microscopic sensory hairs called sensilla, which contain olfactory receptor neurons, tuned to detect specific chemical compounds. When a pheromone molecule binds to these receptors, it initiates a chain reaction that converts the chemical signal into an electrical one, ultimately reaching the ant's brain. Importantly, ants don't just detect whether a pheromone is present. They can often assess the concentration, freshness, and even the context of the signal. For example, the same alarm pheromone might cause aggression in some situations and retreat in others, depending on colony needs or location. Additionally, ants use bilateral comparison, comparing inputs from both antennae to determine the direction of the pheromone trail. This makes their chemosensory system not only highly sensitive, but also spatially precise, allowing them to follow narrow trails, identify nestmates, and respond appropriately to complex social cues. Ant colonies exemplify the concept of a superorganism, a system in which individual members act autonomously yet collectively exhibit highly organized behavior. Each ant operates based on simple behavioral rules and responds to pheromone cues in its environment. These cues guide tasks such as foraging, defense, and nest maintenance. But the ants themselves have no global understanding of the colony's needs. Despite this, the colony functions as a cohesive unit capable of adapting to changes, solving problems, and allocating labor efficiently. This emergent coordination occurs without a central command or brain, making the colony a brainless but intelligent system. Through local interactions and decentralized communication, the ant colony behaves as a superorganism, demonstrating how simple agents follow basic rules can give rise to complex adaptive systems. The effectiveness of pheromone communication depends greatly on how the chemical signals are dispersed and how long they persist in the environment. Pheromones vary in volatility, the tendency of a substance to evaporate and spread through the air or along surfaces. Volatile pheromones like alarm signals spread rapidly but dissipate quickly, providing short-term urgent information. In contrast, less volatile pheromones, like those used for making trails or territory, linger longer and create more stable communication paths. Stability is crucial for some signals, especially those intended to guide foragers or mark nest boundaries. Other factors influencing pheromone dispersal include environmental conditions like humidity, temperature, wind, and terrain. For example, a trail pheromone might last longer in humid conditions than in dry ones. Moreover, pheromone trails can be strengthened or refreshed by repeated use, which allows these ants to reinforce valuable paths and fade out obsolete ones. The physical and chemical properties of pheromones play a major role in regulating the dynamics of ant behavior and interaction. Studying how ants use pheromones has led to fascinating applications in science and engineering. One of the most exciting fields influenced by ant communication is biomimetic robotics, where engineers design systems based on biological principles. Algorithms inspired by ant foraging and pheromone trail dynamics are now used in swarm robotics, where multiple simple robots coordinate without central control. Ideal for tasks like search and rescue missions, planetary exploration, and distributed sensor networks. In computer science, ant colony optimization algorithms are used to solve complex problems such as network routing, logistics, and scheduling. In agriculture and pest control, understanding how these ants use pheromones help develop eco-friendly traps or disruption strategies that interfere with foraging or reproductive behavior. These real-world applications highlight the broader importance of pheromone communication beyond entomology, offering models of efficiency, resilience, and coordination in both natural and artificial systems. Pheromones are essential to ant survival and social coordination, acting as the foundation of their communication system. Through these simple chemical signals, ants are able to execute highly complex colony-wide behaviors such as foraging, nest defense, recruitment, and nestmate recognition. What makes pheromones particularly fascinating is how small-scale signals, like a single ant laying a trail, can lead to a large-scale organized group behavior. This demonstrates a powerful principle. Simple individual rules can scale to create intelligent adaptive systems without centralized control. Studying pheromone-mediated behaviors in ants not only deepens our understanding of insect societies, but also provides valuable insights for fields like swarm robotics, decentralized artificial intelligence, and biological systems. In essence, ant pheromones serve as a natural blueprint for designing efficient, scalable systems in both technology and biology.